And this, Professor Zilnax announced, manipulating the holographic display with a casual flick of her tentacle, is Sol 3, known to its indigenous population as Earth. It is classified as a Class 5 death world. The students in Xenobiology 301, Extreme Environment Adaptation, at the Galactic Academy of Sciences shifted nervously in their environmental chambers. Most species in the unified systems had evolved on Class 1 or 2 worlds planets with stable environments, minimal gravitational stress, and predictable ecological patterns. Trill, a Vexadorian sophomore whose crystalline body structure was optimized for the low-gravity, methane-rich environment of his homeworld, raised a glittering appendage. "Professor, I thought Class 5 worlds were theoretical. The environmental parameters would be too extreme for complex life to evolve." Professor Zilnax's color-shifting skin rippled with academic excitement. "That's precisely what makes Earth so fascinating. It defies our established models. Despite, or perhaps because of its extreme conditions, it has produced one of the most resilient and adaptable species in the known galaxy, humans." She expanded the hologram, showing a rotating image of Earth with data points highlighting its various features. Earth challenges nearly every parameter we consider safe for complex life. Let me demonstrate why it earned its Death World classification. For today's practical exercise, you'll analyze the environmental conditions that would kill approximately 97% of known sentient species. The class of 23 students from 17 different species leaned forward, their curiosity piqued. Their final exams would involve creating survival strategies for hostile environments, theoretical exercises, of course. No university would risk sending students to an actual death world. "Your assignment begins now," Professor Zilnax announced. "Each team will analyze one aspect of Earth's deadly conditions and present your findings in 30 minutes. "Begin." "Water," exclaimed Morla, a Neptidian with glistening blue scales. Her team, consisting of Trill and a gelatinous quallion named Blorf, had been assigned Earth's hydrosphere. The planet is covered in corrosive dihydrogen monoxide, over 70% of its surface. Trill's crystalline form vibrated with shock as he processed the data. "This substance would dissolve my outer layers in seconds. And look at the pressure differentials in these oceans-crushing depths that would implode most spacefaring species." Blorf, whose amorphous form was among the most adaptable in the class, quivered thoughtfully. "What's remarkable is that humans not only evolved alongside this substance, they're primarily composed of it. Their bodies contain approximately 60% water. They're filled with corrosive material." Morla's scales flared in horror. How do they not dissolve from the inside? In the adjacent study pod, another team was having a similarly disturbing revelation about Earth's atmosphere. "Oxygen," shrieked Zex Teal, a methane breather from the Andromeda cloud colonies. "The air is filled with reactive oxygen. It would trigger spontaneous combustion in my respiratory chambers." The oxygen levels have fluctuated wildly throughout the planet's history. Added the team's third member, a silicon-based life form named Serra. Yet somehow, the dominant species adapted each time instead of going extinct. "And look at these pressure readings," said Dax, a low-gravity adapted avian. "The atmospheric pressure would compress my breathing sacs to the point of collapse." Across the laboratory, other teams were making equally alarming discoveries. Their star produces cancer-causing radiation, and the planet's magnetic field only partially shields the surface. "The gravity would crush my locomotion appendages within minutes of landing." They have over 1.7 million described species, and an estimated 10 million undescribed, many of which are predators or parasites. The temperature range is extreme, from 88°C to 58°C in recorded history. Most planets with complex life maintain a temperature variance of less than 20 degrees. Look at these geological readings, The surface is constantly shifting. Entire landmasses move. Molten rock periodically bursts through the crust. As the research period ended, Professor Zilnax gathered the students for presentations. Each team shared their findings with increasing tones of disbelief and respect. The final team, tasked with studying human biology itself, delivered the most shocking revelation. Humans, began Ixlala, a hive mind representative whose 17 bodies spoke in perfect unison, have evolved in response to these conditions in ways that defy conventional adaptation models. Their immune systems wage constant microscopic warfare against invading organisms. Their bones continuously rebuild themselves in response to gravitational stress. They can survive blood loss that would be fatal to most species. They can heal from injuries that would require total body replacement for the rest of us. Most disturbing, added Ixlala's teammate, a quantum phase Lorellian named Drift, is their psychological adaptation. Humans actively seek out danger. They climb frozen mountains with minimal equipment. They dive into the crushing depths of their corrosive oceans. They deliberately expose themselves to hostile environments for what they call recreation or sport. The classroom fell silent as the implications sank in. Professor Zilnax dimmed a holographic display. Now you understand why Earth is classified as a death world, and why humans are categorized as an extreme adaptation species. What other species would evolve on a planet trying to kill them at every turn, and then develop spaceships to seek out other deadly environments? Trill's crystalline form shimmered anxiously. Professor, if humans can survive such hostile conditions, wouldn't that make them incredibly dangerous? If they can endure environments that would kill us instantly, what else might they be capable of? Professor Zilnax's skin shifted to a thoughtful shade of purple. An excellent observation, Trill. It's why the Galactic Council maintains careful diplomatic relations with Earth. Humans are classified as a protected threat species. We avoid conflict, not merely out of ethical concerns, but pragmatic ones. Are they aggressive? Asked Blorf, its gelatinous form quivering. Paradoxically, no more than any other species, the professor replied. But they possess what xenopsychologists call triggered persistence. When threatened or challenged, humans demonstrate determination that borders on pathological. There are documented cases of injured humans continuing to fight with bone exposed, blood loss approaching fatal levels, simply because they refuse to stop. Sarah's silicon-based form hummed with nervous energy. So Earth isn't just a death world because of its environment, but because it produced humans? Precisely. Professor Zilnax's skin flickered with approval. And that brings us to the most important lesson from today's exercise. In your future careers as xenobiologists, you'll encounter diversity beyond imagination. Judge no species by your own evolutionary standards. The conditions you find lethal may be precisely what shaped another species into greatness. As the class concluded, Mauler lingered, watching the holographic Earth rotate slowly in the display. Professor, have you ever met a human? Professor Zilnax's skin shifted to a nostalgic blue. Indeed. I had a human colleague during my research expedition to the Cygnus Rift. When our vessel was damaged by stellar debris, the environmental controls in my chamber failed. The human physically carried my containment field generator for 17 hours, suffering second-degree burns from the energy discharge. Her skin rippled with emotion. When I asked why she endured such pain, she simply said, "That's what crew does." The professor deactivated the hologram with a gentle wave. Remember this, students. The universe shaped humans on a world that should have killed them. Instead, it forged a species that refuses to die, that adapts to any challenge, that persists beyond reason. We call Earth a death world, not because humans cannot survive there, but because the rest of us cannot.